Hello and welcome back to another episode of the News You Missed Mini. This is the news show where I recap what happened in the news that was major in video game news that might affect you and your gaming interests. Stay tuned if you want to get caught up. Today we're going to be covering Death Stranding and how IGN has simply drummed up another controversy for the clicks, perhaps. There's a big conspiracy theory on this one, so you want to know about it. Basically, Death Stranding is Kojima's baby. Once he split from Konami, he doesn't really make Metal Gear games anymore because of that split, but he decided to go off, get the funding to make a game all on his own, and get the approval and the partnership with Sony. Death Stranding is now going to be available on PC later on, but currently it's released for the PlayStation 4 and, of course, the PlayStation 4 Pro. It is one of the most anticipated games of the year because Kojima is one of those guys that makes games that seem like independent films that you would see at a film festival, but something that you can actually play. It's a hit or miss with a lot of people. Many of his games are cult classics, whereas a lot of the casual crowd don't really appreciate his artistic vision. That said, IGN has decided to rate Death Stranding a 6.8 out of 10, giving it an OK, stating that Death Stranding delivers fascinating world of supernatural sci-fi, but its gameplay struggles to support its own weight. The reviewer itself is an author who has had about 50 reviews in, according to several people discussing this controversy right now, and stated that they feel like they put this review on this guy because they knew he would give it not that fair of a shake. And there's many other conspiracy theories associated with this. For example, someone had suggested that perhaps IGN gave Death Stranding a very low rating so that they could drum up controversy and get more clicks, which could potentially be true. Every person's an independent person. If I were to review a racing game, I may not like it as much as someone who's really into cars, a gearhead, right? So it would make sense. Not that I would give it a 6.8 out of 10 because I'm bad at the game or anything. It would still probably be an 8 or 9 out of 10 based on my pillars of gaming. I always review a game from the viewpoint of graphics, gameplay, control, the story itself, and whether or not it's just a cohesive, fun experience to play. It has to hit all the marks to get a perfect 10 from me. Games like Super Mario Odyssey, Metroid Prime, Doom, there's many games that are 9 and 10 out of 10 for me, and IGN is most definitely not like that. They very much are opinionated, personalized reviews. These are not generalistic reviews. Now, with all that said, you might be saying to yourself, well, it's IGN. You can't spell IGN without spelling ignorant, right? Okay, we all know what IGN's about. We all know what's up with them. But if you actually go over to the Call of Duty Modern Warfare score, one of the most generic and bland first-person shooters of all time, the Modern Warfare Call of Duty series, it got an 8 out of 10. This is a somewhat remastery, somewhat remake of the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but if it were to occur in our times instead of back over 10, 15 years ago during the time period where they had developed the game originally. And that got an 8 out of 10, which I'm not saying it doesn't deserve it, but a lot of people were calling attention to this, stating that it's an unfair review score for Death Stranding when you give a bland and boring game, but a game that advertises a lot and pays a lot. Activision, the developers Infinity Ward, publisher Activision, those guys pay a lot of money, and of course they're going to give it a high score. That's what people are saying. And you can add fuel to this fire and all these conspiracy theories if you happen to just check IGN in Italy and IGN in Japan, where the scores are 98 out of 100 and 95 out of 100 respectively. Japan might be a little bit more biased to Kojima. That would make sense. People defending that issue, they have a good argument on their hands. Kojima is someone who's very well loved in Japan. Of course, they're going to give him a high rating. But when you look at the score in Italy, Death Stranding scored 3 points higher, where they might not have as much bias for Kojima. So, what's the deal? Well, I would say that Death Stranding is a very unique and interesting game that takes the perspective of a delivery guy in a very ambiguous world with a lot of crazy stuff going on. Would you like to do an RPG game with nothing but fetch quests and some story thrown in? It doesn't really sound that good, but when you play Death Stranding, it may appeal to you greatly, and that is the wild card. Depending on the cultures, depending on the atmospheres, what people want will depend on their viewpoint of the game itself. Review ratings are still garbage. They are next to worthless unless you really see eye to eye with the reviewer. From me, personally, I've made it a point to always review my games from a casual point of view and a hardcore gamer's point of view. If I am the niche audience that appeals to, I will always mention that, I will always talk about it, and I will talk about its ups and downs regarding that. But as a game that appeals to most casual people will play the game maybe a week or two, maybe a couple days, and be done with it, and that's it. That's just how it goes. The IGN ratings might work out great, especially in America, where a lot of people they sit down 1 to 2 hours a day, maybe a couple hours a week, play Modern Warfare, and that's the only game they're going to play with their buddies. They work a 9-to-5 job at a warehouse, at a factory. That's what they do. As opposed to those who are in Italy and Japan, who might have something else going on where they can play for several hours. So, what do you think about these review scores? Have you played Death Stranding, and what do you feel about it? Are you excited to play it, or have these review scores deterred you from playing it any further? You let me know in the comments down below. As always, you can support me over on Patreon to remove all ads and keep ads away from news stories like this. You can like and share the video for absolutely free because it's 100% free to support me by doing that, and you can add a comment down below. Now, I've been your host, the Grandmaster Gamer, and I will see you guys in the next one. As always, good gaming, God bless, and thanks for taking time out to watch this video.